It is Sunday, June 14th, 2026, and this is The High Road, Logistics and Leadership. I'm Jules Sterling, and I'm the diplomat who turns your supply chain fires into a manageable glow.
This is Dan Miller.
I'm Buck Reynolds.
Elena Rossi speaking. We have a great show for you today.
I'm still buzzing from yesterday. We really got into the weeds on Secretary Duffy's ASCSI launch at the Port of LA, that big federal dashboard. Plus, Buck was laughing about the FMCSA finally killing off those 1950s oil flare rules, while I was trying to talk about the LTL rate increases. Honestly, it was about time for a regulatory pruning. Today, we're pivoting to the absolute collision between old school yard management and a tech disruption that's melting down the legacy market.
It is a collision, Jules, but more like a multi-car pileup. If I may, the 2026 Great Integration is proving that the more tech we pile on, the more manual process bottlenecks we seem to discover. Actually, you see, the latest industry report from C3 Solutions says manual process inefficiencies have actually increased this year.
40% of operations.
Exactly. They're impacting over 40% of operations now because companies are buying visibility and then sitting on their hands.
Incredible. Look, we have drones that can deliver a burrito to a park bench, but we still need a guy with a whistle and a clipboard to tell a 53-foot reefer where to drop? We're fumbling in the red zone here.
Well, here's the deal. You can't just slap a smart sensor on a gate and expect the workflow to change, Dan. I mean, my thing is that most of these yards were built when trailers were 40 feet and cell service was a pipe dream.
So true.
I mean, you're trying to put 2026 tech onto a 1974 yard layout. And then you're wondering why the implementation effectiveness is sitting at 55%. That's a lot of money spent on software just to have the yard dog still yelling over a walkie-talkie because the tablet doesn't work in the rain.
Exactly, Buck. According to that C3 report from the UK summit last week, that 55% implementation frustration is the biggest barrier. People have visibility now. They can see where the trailer is, but the system doesn't do anything. It doesn't trigger a move or sync with the warehouse, which is why they launched Catalyst. It's a unified integration layer meant to bridge those silos between the yard, the retail stores, and the suppliers, right?
So they're actually trying to talk to the warehouse and the road at the same time? Look, they've got 230,000 active users now.
Uh-huh.
If Catalyst can bridge those silos, they're not just moving boxes. They're moving at Amazon speed, which, as we'll get to later, is the only speed that matters in 2026. Bottom line, it's about velocity.
If I may, my thing is the risk profile. A unified integration layer is just a fancy term for a single point of failure. You see, if Catalyst goes dark, does the whole retail supply chain go blind?
They'd be back to handwritten logs in 5 minutes, Elena.
And CargoNet is reporting that personal care and beauty product theft is up 178%. Thieves are using remote access Trojans to infiltrate these same fleet portals.
Oh, wow.
The more unified we make the tech, the easier we make it for the bad guys to sit inside the stack and pick their targets with surgical precision. It's a terrifying level of vulnerability for the iron.
Surgical precision is right. They aren't just taking the trailer. They're taking the identity of the carrier to do it. Here's the play. It's a cyber-physical heist every single day now.
And speaking of that human-tech balance, we have to acknowledge that today is the start of National Technician Appreciation Week. And Buck, I know you've been saying that the uptime myth is finally getting exposed, right?
I mean, the thing is, it's about respect. I've been on both sides of that shop window, and right now, we've got fleets claiming 98% uptime. But that's only if you ignore the waiting on parts or the software glitch time.
It's selective bookkeeping.
Exactly. ATA and the TMC are out here celebrating reliability engineers. But the reality is only 30% of fleets use their sensor data to actually predict a failure.
Right?
They have the fire hydrant of data, but they're still fixing stuff when it's already smoking on the side of the road. I mean, we gotta treat these guys better than that.
It's a coaching issue. It's like having the game film but never watching it. Look, if Volvo and Aurora are pulling safety drivers in early 2027, which is confirmed by the way, the shop is the only thing that keeps that business model from crashing. For these driverless operations to be profitable, uptime metrics have to shift from available to strategic. And every minute of unplanned downtime is a fumble that the silicon driver can't recover from. Here's the play. We need technicians who are essentially software engineers with grease on their hands.
Actually, it's an insurance imperative. You see, a maintenance log is a legal document. If you can prove you were predicting the failure and took the truck off the road, you have a defense against a nuclear verdict.
Uh-huh.
If you didn't, you're basically writing a blank check to the plaintiff's attorney. And since national diesel averages are hovering around $5.50 a gallon, we literally can't afford to have units sitting idle for traditional preventative maintenance. It has to be strategic and precise.
It's a resilience pivot. I'm telling my retail accounts that maintenance is now a competitive advantage. If your carrier's trucks are predictive, your inventory is safe, right? Before we move into the chaos of the border corridors, we have to acknowledge the architect behind our own tech stack. Strategic logistics requires world-class engineering. This show is powered by the stack developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media. Support the architect behind the code. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia for a free trial and access to our daily briefing PDF.
Well, Eric knows how to keep the sensors in the green, unlike half the fleets we're talking about.
Jules here, and I'm ready for the next gear. Buck, tell us about the Laredo Green Corridor. I was seeing some numbers from the 9th Annual Modernization Summit that were just, staggering.
Staggering is right. Here's the deal. According to the research reports, they're looking at a $6 to $10 billion elevated track for trailers, linking Monterey directly to Laredo. It's 165 miles of elevated automated guideway.
Right.
They're targeting 10,000 trailers a day in each direction on autonomous shuttles, bypassing the bridge lines completely. But the thing is, who's doing the maintenance on an elevated guideway 30 feet in the air when a sandstorm hits?
Exactly. And security? Actually, you see, the Laredo Summit is debating AI pre-screening to handle the customs bottlenecks. But you're still asking U.S. drivers to deliver deep into Mexico because of the B-1 visa crackdown. It's a total labor reversal. It's almost ironic. We're building elevated robots because the ground-level labor politics are so broken.
Right? I have drivers from Des Moines who are terrified of crossing into Nuevo Laredo. And now we're asking them to go all the way to Monterey because we can't get enough Mexican drivers through the federal screening fast enough. It's a diplomacy nightmare on 18 wheels. I'm sort of trying to explain to a driver that their route just doubled in geopolitical risk while we wait for an elevated shuttle track that isn't even built yet. It's just another layer of stress for the human infrastructure.
Look, it's a pivot. Nearshoring is the name of the game. Toyoko is dropping $350 million on a solar plant in Houston. They need polysilicon and they need it yesterday.
Uh-huh.
They don't care if the driver's from Iowa or Monterey. They just need the line to move. The Green Corridor is the only way to meet that demand without turning Laredo into a permanent 24-hour traffic jam.
I mean, I'd pay to see a guy from Des Moines trying to find a loading dock in Monterey at 2 a.m. It's going to be a diplomatic incident every 10 minutes.
Look, it's about decoupling freight movement from traditional border delays. And that's the same thing Amazon is doing with their new LTL rollout.
If I may, my thing is that we're building these private highways while the public infrastructure is still stuck in the 1970s. We're creating a two-tier supply chain where the giants like Amazon and PepsiCo have their own elevated tracks, and the rest of the small carriers are stuck at the way station. It's a structural reset of North American logistics. The giants are vertically integrating because they don't want to rely on the friction of the public border anymore. And that's exactly why LTL rates are spiking while the rest of the market drags.
That is exactly what's happening in the LTL sector right now, Elena. Look, everyone is looking at the yield numbers and thinking we're in a boom. But it's a total fuel illusion, and the market is about to find that out.
Dan, break that down for us, because the ODFL report made it look like they were printing money, right?
Look, ODFL's revenue per hundredweight is up 15.6%, but diesel is up 60% year over year. It's $5.60 at the pump. Fuel surcharges are now 37% of the base rate.
Right. And if you strip out the fuel, ODFL's core yield is only up 5.4%.
Exactly.
Which is disciplined, but it's not a record-breaking cycle. And ArcBest? Their yield ex-fuel is essentially flat. They're just chasing tonnage to keep the doors open while the kings are holding the line on price. It's a volume game masquerading as a yield game.
I mean, the thing is, I don't care what your billing says if the weight per shipment is down. But we're finally seeing a tonnage inflection point. That means the factories are actually building stuff again, even if the fuel costs are masking the real margin. The physical economy is waking up.
And Amazon is coming for all of it. Look, they opened their LTL service to every business on June 10th, even if you aren't an Amazon seller. They wiped billions in market value in one afternoon.
Why?
Because they offer a single digital layer that feels like parcel shipping for a 5-pallet load. Shippers are demanding the same real-time GPS tracking and visibility for LTL that they have for full truckload. Amazon's interface collapses the traditional broker-carrier stack into one button.
It's the AWS model for freight. Sort of about predictability, right? I mean, my retail accounts would rather pay a premium to Amazon than deal with the fragmented stack of a legacy LTL broker. They want the GPS tracking on every pallet. It makes the VP of supply chain feel safe.
I mean, here's the deal. Amazon doesn't have the technicians yet. You want to see an Amazon driver try to fix a jammed lift gate in a grocery store dock? That's where the legacy guys still have the edge. For now.
Now it's time for the week ahead, our Friday segment where we break down the high-stakes catalysts for the week of June 15th through the 21st. Look, tomorrow is Monday, June 15th, and it's a big day for the trade map. We have the USMCA Review Round 2 kicking off in Washington. We're talking rules of origin and economic security. If this session doesn't move the needle, we're looking at a sunset crisis by July. This isn't just a regulatory meeting. It's a structural crossroads for North American freight flow and Laredo Bridge 4 wait times.
Uh-huh.
And expect the Cass Freight Index to show a massive tariff pull forward tomorrow. Shippers are rushing to beat that July 150-day cap on Section 122 tariffs. It's going to be an artificial volume spike that we've got to decipher. We're looking for that shipment volume to be artificially inflated. So don't get drunk on the numbers just yet. Keep your head clear on the difference between organic growth and tariff panic.
It makes sense. Everyone is trying to build safety stock before the wall goes up.
Exactly. Then Tuesday, I'm watching the Advanced Retail Sales Report. This is the barometer for consumer to curb volumes. It's the fuel for these middle-mile autonomous lanes. If the consumer is strong, the tech scales because the demand justifies the R&D. Then on Wednesday, it's the EIA Petroleum Status Report. Distillate inventories are at record seasonal lows.
Oh, boy.
Any surprise draw there, and fuel surcharges are going to snap back hard in July. And the fuel illusion will become a very real nightmare for your margins. Because that commercial crude inventory is already 5% below the 5-year average. It's a margin killer for Q3 if you aren't hedged and sitting on a fuel margin buffer right now. Watch those draws on Wednesday, folks.
Always something with the oil.
Oh, finally. I'm watching Texas House Bill 4402. They're debating a mandate for human safety drivers just as the DMV authorization system goes live. It's a regulatory tug-of-war that could freeze billions in Texas-based tech investment overnight. Look, if Texas goes, the whole autonomous corridor dream takes a sack. You've got Aurora and Volvo looking at that floor like it's a minefield. That's a lot of moves to track, folks. And make sure you're looking at the whole board or you're already in check.
That does it for us today on The High Road, Logistics and Leadership. We've talked about the LTL fuel illusion, the $10 billion green corridor gamble, and why your maintenance technicians are the only thing standing between you and a nuclear meltdown. The big takeaway? The Amazon Rubicon has been crossed, and the USMCA talks tomorrow are the only thing standing between us and a Laredo meltdown. So keep your eyes on the board.
Later.
See ya.
Peace. Keep your relationships healthy and your sensors in the green. Catch you next Sunday.